I would like to call on the very first speaker, who in fact is going to be giving us the keynote address for this event, and he will be speaking on the role of government in aviation future. Capacity building, the role of government in aviation future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again in welcoming Mr. Victor Banjo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it's actually an honor to be here at this first ever Aviation Career Conference, which has been put together by Lady Joy Obebo. She's really a fantastic lady. It was a great pleasure working with her many years ago, and it's always an honor to actually be here to actually support this laudable initiative. So this is actually going to be a very short keynote address because I believe the discussants are going to come, and we're going to have a very rich discussion on how to take this industry forward. So, I thank Joy Obebo for inviting me to this Aviation Career Conference and granting me the privilege to deliver this keynote address. I've titled my remarks, Capacity Building in the Nigerian Aviation Sector, the Role of Government in Creating a Better Future. I believe I have some understanding of what it takes to build capacity for organizations, having served in many pioneering talent sourcing and development roles in the fast-moving consumer goods industry, banking sector, maritime and ship repair services, and in the aviation sector, as my assistant director at Aviation Nigeria, one of the best examples of how to build capacity from inception in May 2005. In that role, we championed development and implementation of initiatives aimed at developing local Nigerian talent for our growing fleet with great successes. In recent years, it has become a matter of great concern that as a nation, we have paid lip service to capacity building in this industry. We place more emphasis on the acquisition of fast depreciating goods rather than investing in human assets. In my opinion, three things continue to work against the aviation sector and the nation as a whole. One is corruption. Two is policy inconsistency and somersault. And three is the lack of selfless patriotism on the part of key players in the industry. I remember in 2007 November, I woke up in my hotel room in Johannesburg and I saw a front page headline saying that in the next 10 years, Africa would need about 18,000 pilots. It was actually interesting when I read in today's brochure that it is forecasted that Africa would actually need about 21,700 pilots over the next 20 years. And the real question I have is, what are we doing collectively to actually meet this demand? And there's also been a case of what I call misguided priority setting on the part of government and some of the agencies. Take, for example, in 2001-2012, the sum of 49 billion was earmarked for the development of 32 additional airports in Nigeria by the Nigerian government. In my opinion, these funds could have been better utilized in bringing the existing airports up to international standard and also investing in some of the aviation schools we have across the country, taking into consideration the need to improve operational, safety measures, and security. Should I remind you that as the price for more investment in the aviation sector deepened in 2015, a serving minister decided that spending 255 million naira on the purchase of 2 BMW vehicles was a higher priority. To me, that's the height of his priorities. 2 days ago, a friend shared some disturbing news with me. Nigerian Universities Commission, in its 2018 appropriation budget, made 8 million naira provision for research and 85 million naira for the purchase of vehicles. This is actually what I call symptomatic of what we see in many parts of our economy where we actually don't place enough emphasis on developing capacity to actually ensure sustainable future for those sectors. And this, in April 2016, this led aviation industry commentator, Chineke Tuesday, to note that experts in this industry have repeatedly expressed worries over the lack of indigenous skilled technical professionals, due to protracted years of poor capacity building, pointing out that an estimated 250 billion naira is spent annually to pay expatriates who work in the industry. How are the major industry players actually responding? It is actually good to actually know that in 2014, Cavalry Helicopters trained 15 local helicopter engineers. But is that enough? It's a commendable step in the development of manpower in that sector, bearing in mind that in previous years, they've had to train all the helicopter engineers in the UAE, USA, Brazil, Italy, and Norway, in order to build the capacity they actually need for the operations. We were informed, I was hoping the teacher of NCA would be here, because we were informed in 2014 that NCA will soon establish its training academy for the development of indigenous capacity in the aviation sector. Has that been realized? Because so all these things actually, I think we need to actually make a statement that enough of rhetorics and actually all this advanced studying, let's actually start seeing some positive actual action in this area. Such an investment would actually boost local capacity development while helping capital flight and improving overall safety in the Nigerian and regional aviation sector. In an article titled British Airways Building a Future for the Nigerian Aviation Industry, which was published in 2015 July in Business Day, Shadi Williams reported that British Airways had launched a capacity building initiative called Leaders of Tomorrow. This initiative is aimed at students from the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, so I'm glad to know that my good friend, Engineer Wahid, is actually here as well to actually speak on that as well. How did that go? Did it go well? Well, because I think we go back, we used to actually work together in a different organization many years ago. And that program was actually aimed at further deepening British Airways' commitment to meeting the manpower. Now I can sound that person. Thank you. And this will actually serve as a aim at further deepening British Airways' commitment to meeting the manpower needs in the Nigerian aviation industry. 6 young Nigerians from UNCAD emerged winners of the project, and they were given the opportunity to undergo a 2-week internship at British Airways head office in Nigeria, as well as pay as a full week visit to the company's headquarters in London, Heathrow, where they met with the CEO. This is good, but my whole point is, if you look at our industry statistics, the number of pilots we actually need, the number of engineers we actually need, how many certified engineers we have in Nigeria today that can actually basically do the job we actually need. To me, this is actually just what I call it's not even a drop in the ocean, because I can't even feel the drop. And then you have, I'm glad to actually see the likes of Universal Training School here, because you see have the likes of State of Aviation in Ibadan. They also recently graduated 27 aviators. But what I'm concerned about is all of this does not show that as an industry, the governing body and also the what I call the regulatory agency is actually not doing enough to actually provide a structured plan. Let me speak about UNCAT. When I was director of Virgin Nigeria back in 2005, we decided that we're actually going to work with UNCAT to actually set up what we call a flight academy. And we reached out to other airlines that wanted to actually form a consortium, so that rather than trying to spend money individually to train pilots, why don't you actually develop a pool of pilots by working with UNCAT? I remember at that time, the entire executive team, all the directors of Virgin Nigeria, we went to Zaria to meet with the management, we inspected the facilities, and we said we're going to do it. Well, guess what? When it came to implementation, the ministry did not support our initiative. Because, for whatever reason, they did not actually see that this is actually something that was actually going to make the future work. I said to myself, did they realize what it takes for when an airline moves its entire management, the CEO, the HR director, chief operating officer, chief commercial officer, all of us were moved. And we had fruitful meetings with UNCAT. It's 2005. But because of what I call the frustration from the ministry, that laudable idea never took off. As a result, if you remember, we were then forced to actually start our own internal flight training program, and we took how many students to Florida, when that money could have actually been spent here in Nigeria to build capacity and also make it an annual program. So that frustration is exactly what I think I was when the DG and UNCAT, everybody when they get and then UNCAT gets here, DPNCA, we need to have a robust conversation is what are you really going to do to actually make things better. So while some of these initiatives are mentioned are aimed at building capacity for the sector are commendable, they will not solve the major problem we have without a strategic roadmap issued by the government and its enabling agencies. Take, for example, that from May 2005 to November 2007, when I was actually in charge of training and capacity building in Virgin Nigeria, we invested over £2.8 million in capacity building for pilots, cabin crew, and all aspects of our operations. I'm yet to see the government blueprint for the resuscitation of essential skills development in this sector, and to me that is alarming. What is the role of government in building capacity for the aviation sector? The best answer I have come across is the statement made by the president of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, Dr. Bernard Aliu, during a recent visit to the Nigerian aviation minister. He said that despite the achievements recorded in the infrastructural development of the aviation industry in Nigeria, the objective of safe and secure air transport will be deficient without adequate human capacity building. Should I repeat that? To me, any serious minister who actually wants to leave a mark should read that statement and say, what am I doing about this? This is what he said again. He said, despite the achievements recorded in the infrastructural development of the aviation industry in Nigeria, the objective of safe and secure air transport will be deficient without adequate human capacity building. What's he saying here? Can you explain what I just said to me? I thought you were yes. Which one of you wants to become a pilot or flight engineer? Waste our time and energy building what I call physical structures, forgetting that countries that have become great have actually become great based on what? Investment in intellectual capacity. So when you say you spend money trying to basically revamp the airport building, which is actually good, it's saying that with your human capacity investment, you are actually wasting your time. Dr. Aliu said the Nigerian government must have a defined plan to grow human capacity, without which the sector will continue to remain underdeveloped as airlines and other technical-based organizations in the industry will depend on expatriate manpower supply. There is a huge deficiency in training. I think that goes without saying. Other aviation industry commentators, such as Dabojuri, have expressed concern that inspectors whose invaluable job ensure the safety of aircraft are not adequately trained due to paucity of funds. Lack of training makes the skill acquired over the years rusty, and inefficiency comes in when what was learned becomes recessive due to lack of on-the-job training and retraining to actually upgrade their skills. And I think I can speak about experiences. I mean, in my time in the aviation industry, you actually hear cases where, as an airline, you have to basically secure the aircraft, you have to bring them in the country, and the inspection agency have to tell you they cannot afford to actually go and inspect the aircraft, and you, the airline, have to do what? You have to actually provide the funding for them to actually go and inspect the aircraft. To me, it compromises the objective assessment of whether that aircraft is actually airworthy or not. No government agency should have to actually seek financial assistance from an airline in order to actually go and certify an aircraft airworthy to be shipped into this country. It creates a conflict of interest in that area. So what are we actually saying here? So the likes of FAN, NCAA, AIB, NAMA, all of them actually need a lot of well-trained and experienced personnel, because the ones they have who are well-trained back in the days are retiring, and there are no younger ones being trained. There's something we call succession planning. You actually don't wait until people actually start dying out before you actually, I mean, how many of you are farmers like me? I'm a farmer as well. Now, what you actually do, if you want to harvest cassava or maize next year, you actually wait until so when you start preparing for it, you start tilling the ground. I'm sure these children, in our days, we did agricultural, we did practical, we go to farm, we all had our hoes. Some of you don't even know what hoes look like. And you have your own plot that you have to basically work on. So what it means is that you have to actually plan ahead, proactively anticipating what the needs are, knowing that by the way, if you're going to take an extra year, you're taking in with 787, Dreamliners 4, you need to know that how long does it take to actually basically groom a captain? It takes about 7.7 years, right? So at what point should you be recruiting new pilots? You actually don't wait on. So when I hear talk about the new national carrier, I laugh, and I have it here. I say, in conclusion, I've listened with concern to the ongoing debate about the plan to establish a new national carrier. Without a clearly articulated capacity building blueprint, that idea may not take off successfully. Because it's not, you have a discussion today when the truth is, the skill sets, you actually need to actually build what the area is not there. In 2005, when we were actually building Aviation Nigeria, let's face it, how and where did you find pilots and crew? You know what we say, what we do, we cannibalize the industry. Because there's actually no, what you call additional resources. What you actually do, we poach. You poach from other airlines. And at the end of the day, what are you doing? You are actually basically what? You are making it difficult for the industry itself to actually operate well. Because if you actually want to do well, you should be growing X number of pilots every year to make sure the industry have some. But the point here is, don't we have pilots being groomed locally? I'm aware that Nigerian Aviation Technologies area has been training pilots regularly, graduating pilots regularly. To me, it's an indictment of the airlines in Nigeria that a lot of these young pilots are actually not being given the necessary support to actually build up their hours and actually become credible in the industry. And I also have a very strong condemnation for government agencies like the Ministry for Aviation, Foreign Affairs, who continue to also grant quota to a lot of airlines for actually bringing expatriate pilots when the local pilots will be developed, but that is the future of our country. So, a lot we're going to talk more about. I'll leave a lot for the industry gurus like the thinker inside that and others to come in to have a further debate. But I would have to say that I commend Joy and the team for the selfless commitment to fill a crucial gap in finding and developing critical talent to ensure the sustainability and competitiveness of the Nigerian aviation industry. And I've traveled a lot across the African continent. I've visited at least about 15 African countries. And I can tell you, even some of the smaller countries I've been to, like Mozambique, Zambia, and Rwanda, we have the worst aviation infrastructure, and we also have the worst customer service in all those places that we've been. And all those things are actually due to what? Ineffective and poor investment in people's skills and in quality service, which actually means we need to invest better in our people. In recent weeks and months, I've done a lot of travel across the Central South region, and you have to sell. I'm flying out of Lagos to countries in West Africa. I can't find bigger Nigerian airlines dominating the route. You find Air Cote d'Ivoire actually dominating most of the West African South region now. And mind you, they also offer what I call some of the youngest fleet as well. If a country like Cote d'Ivoire can actually invest in brand new fleet for the aircraft, they are flying all these beautiful and Airbus planes and also the, what do you call those ones, the Dash. Yeah. Yeah, they find some Dash as well. Brand new. I keep saying, so what is the Nigerian government waiting for to actually build a strong aviation fund to actually support skill acquisition and also quality and equipment as well? Ladies and gentlemen, I will leave you with these few words to actually ponder while we actually wait for the discussants to come in much later to have their own thoughts. I wish you all a very rewarding time at this Aviation Career Conference today. Thank you very much.